Jeremiah 23 in hoods. So I just want to say, I went to the store. The black guard comes on me. The black guard. He says, "Hey man, hey brother, did you ask people for money?" I said, "No, man. Why would I ask people for money? I'm a descendant of my ancestors worked the land. I shouldn't got nothing, should I? They were here in the beginning, in the foundation, when it first said, 'Are you in the Kentucky Derby?' You got a horse in there? Pow!" And Free Bible Commentary.org, Bob Utley said, "Man, we practice more." I'll give him some credit and say, maybe the charities demonstrate some kind of Christianity. I like that. Fox News, you should lose because you snooze. You don't understand, Christianity is not status. And Hebrew practice is not status. None of it is status. Oh, Jesus would have said, yeah, he's the greatest. He took the least one and put him in front of the greatest. He said, if you want status, prophets have the status in the East. There's no one greater than John. And the least one over here in our family is greater than him. He killed status. He murdered it. Titles and everything else. What he was saying was, it looked like to me, if the little girl see the other little girl, he said, "You got breath today and you're alive. Hi, what's your name?" That's what it sounds like. Except we be like that, how are we going to practice kingdom principles? I was in the store, first thing he asked me, when he asked people money, this black guy. I retired from Review Journal, lead security through Green Valley Security. I just laid my hat down. But I was lead, so I know what he's doing. But we in a place right there on Cheyenne. Right there on Cheyenne and Lawson. We at basically I think the Mexicans own that. The lady at the cash register, she don't mind helping me. She said, "Well, no, you got to have the barcode on the back of the car. And we scan that for you to buy a beer." I'm 62 years old, so I understand that. But what I didn't understand, the brother with a twisted face, body language, 58% of his communication is screaming. Socials whacked out. Are you asking people for money? Well, why would I do that? I walked in here and grabbed Modelo, because Modelo beat Budweiser. I wanted to taste the strawberry. Well, now, we got, before I can get to the counter, first charge, you begging for money? I couldn't even answer. Well, he already stereotyped me, sizing me up. The brother guard on the brother that's in the store. And you look homeless to me, or whatever he thought in his mind. He rolled on me, Mexicans everywhere. He ain't ride on no Mexican. I'm Mexican black, by the way. My great-grandfather fought in the, what? Mexican general. Named me right after him. My mother said, "Donald, you call me black Mexican. You call me whatever you want to. But the bottom line, I'm black. And I got Mexican in me. Or I'm Mexican and I got black in me. It doesn't matter what I got in me. And I got Cherokee in me too. And that's what you're hearing right now. All them tribes coming forth. The point was, the next thing he said, the guard said, as I reached for my ID in my phone, because I lost my ID. Now they can't sell me unless he scanned the bar, and it has to be a physical ID. The guard said, he can't buy this. He went to the next one. You gotta have that physical ID. In other words, get the hell out of here. He said, nothing, no one else. Black on black. Now what happened in this man's mind to make him think I was asking people for money? No, I had money. You mean I asked somebody to buy me a beer? Right? Yeah, So no crime in that, is it? Why you sold 58% body language, tone 38%, way up to the fullest volume. Fronting, knocking faces off, and everything. Didn't read Dale Carnegie's book. How to ring fence influence people. First book written on socials. Every security guard ought to take that book and read it on YouTube for free. I said I was lead security guard in a review journal with Green Valley Security. I'm retired. Now I know you don't pounce on people like that, man, with the body language tone and very demonstrative and blasting. You asking people for money? Way loud. Humiliating the person. Assuming that the black man whose descendants worked this land and didn't get paid, mine did, because you got white people in there. We got land. We got assets. We got square footage. We probably got ground leasing. And get checks for our gas station, more than likely. Go to North Carolina and look up Spalding. S-P-A-U-L-D-I. They weren't going to let them, when they make some races, baby, they weren't going to let the robbery go down. So we have wealth. I don't know what they did with the North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company. They did something with it. That's understandable. But it's still not understandable at the same time because we still are getting family reunions. We'll still be taking money in for scholarships for Spaldings. So that is a wise thing. It's collective thing. Do you know how much money that company would be worth? Look at it. Billions and billions of dollars. 10 people settled, sold it, and they got estates. But that's only 10. And their descendants are established. The rest of the Spaldings, you're on your own. My father went out west and he began to do his thing. You got to be an individual. A Spalding has great pride. And we must produce. And we should. Every human being should produce. But this status thing is what I'm going at. He said to me at the end of his life, I don't know, Donnie, call me Donnie. My name's Donovan. I mean Dark Warrior. Named after my grandfather, Mexican general. They always called me Donnie though. Never called me Donovan. Nobody called me Donovan, except my mother. She said that was supposed to be first on your birth certificate. I'm trying to celebrate Modelo beating Budweiser and buy a strawberry. That's all I'm trying to do. You turn it into, you a beggar, probably a thief. What you doing in here? When he got down with me, my face was on the ground in front of all the Mexicans by the black guard. And I understand why he did it. I don't hold it against him. First of all, you gotta have ID. But you know I'm setting you up. You don't know that. I know you gotta have ID to get the beer. But the fact was, why did you ask me the first question? Am I asking people for money? Oh no, I have money. You mean do I ask a person to buy me the beer because I lost my ID? That should have been the correct answer I gave him. Nevertheless, man, in the end of the whole deal, they threw me out that store. He made sure. He answered all the questions. Oh no, you're gonna have your ID. You didn't let the clerk do it, the Mexican lady clerk, which all she said was, do you have the back of that ID so I can scan that thing? Even in the phone, she's willing to do that. But she's willing to service me. He tried to find a reason to throw me out. And I say, was it because of the color of my skin? Or was it because of my status? Either one of them, brother, you done. Why is that? If the oppressor chastised you, conspired and put your ancestors in poverty, separated you, and ostracized you, why do you choose the oppressor's way? And show me your flossy diamonds, car, and your big home on the hill. Way up. Why do you do that? You're showing it to me. The other black people with ski masks coming to rob you probably. Here's the question. could we be so naive to miss what Jesus said about the handling of a stranger? And we say Christian nation. And what Bob Utley said. FreeBibleCommentary.org, he said, no, we practice an ideology that's individualistic, capitalistic competition. Walmart did eat Sears. I say that. It's obvious. If there's competition, and we're in the Kentucky Derby, and the gun shines, we're off and we're going. Now each horse should be nurtured. There's no sick horses in there. They're all bred, they all have the best health, and they all got the same potential, obviously, or they wouldn't be in the Kentucky Derby. Neither would the Super Bowl. If you were only one person, you can't play in the Super Bowl. What I'm trying to say is, there is competition. We're so busy competing in the competition, looking at what I got and what you don't have, judging the one that don't have as unworthy to earn the right to say anything, when the one that do have, flossing on the less fortunate that don't have. This is what we become. And treating the other one, because you size them up, well, you're black, you might be homeless, and you might be begging people for money, assuming, or somebody said he was, or whoever said he was. They didn't ask me. What did you say to the young man, or the person walking in the store? I said, could you buy me a Modelo? I'm celebrating Modelo v. Budweiser. Look, strawberry. It just came out. I'm trying to support. Not to beat Budweiser again in the competition. But I like the strawberry Modelo. Can I like the strawberry Modelo? Okay then. So, the issue was, the guard said, but if you ain't got ID, you can't buy this. Listen, that's the clerk's job. He said, overstep. Well, I got this, nigga. That's what he's saying. And you ain't got ID? No, the physical. He can't buy it in. He took the thing back. I'm on top of it, master. That's what it looked like to me. See how I'm on top of it? The master is the Mexicans this time. And you gonna say, ain't no precious bone coming out of me. This is how it went down, brother. He's so busy trying to prove the Mexican he on top of his job. Don't fire me because, hey, I need this job, security. I'm on top of it. And he didn't realize he just discriminated against me. Ostracized me. Sized me up. I didn't have a car, huh? Well, he gotta be poor and black and homeless. Once you get that record, brother, you can forget it. It's their fault. You know, Martin Luther King took a bullet in the head to get a quarter raise. He said, man don't work, John Hagee said, you don't eat. Get a job, mister. Well, they had a job, and it still wasn't enough. Because it's paid the lowest wage, like the descendants from Mississippi that moved to Las Vegas and Louisiana and Alabama moved here in 46 were given the lowest paid jobs. That's what black people were given. Affirmative action come around to make it a little better. And well, man, let's stop discriminating against these people and their pay. And if they qualify, they qualify. And Martin Luther King took him to say, contact of character. Now y'all use that and say every man created equal in God's eyes. Talk to my white brothers that's sitting in suburban neighborhoods. And you vote Republican. And I don't vote neither. And you know why? Because the middle class neighborhood we had in Detroit went down awfully fast when that hell run got there and they can't grow it in their backyard. Yeah, they kick in doors, Detroit SWAT, but they never thought to say, well, hell, man, why don't we sanction the country that send the drugs? How did 2.4 metric tons of cocaine show up in Baltimore, Black City? Instead, you can see the bodies. If you go to homicide, you can see the bodies all over. Poverty, King Solomon said, brings destruction. All by itself, obviously. Because Haiti, Ethiopia, Congo, nations that are poor, they go through, man. The lack of thereof, by the hoarding thereof, of one group against another, to manipulate and exploit the other. Venezuela, embargoes, and nothing in the hospital. They selling everything to survive. Hey man, you show me the thieves on Fox News, and then you show me the Christians. Show me the brothers robbing all of that on Fox News and conservative Christians. Was it conspiracy of poverty on black males? And does poverty, do you believe King Solomon? You say you believe Hebrew. He said poverty brings destruction. He didn't say if you're black or white. He said it brings destruction. If you conspire knowing assets, land ownership would bring status, would bring respect that you say, would bring people to admire you. And why don't we all jump out the Kentucky Derby as horses with the same health, same wealth? They work the land. James said don't hold it overnight. They mowed your fields. Descendants are here now and they still broke. And the ones that got land, many of them was bribed. Not my family. They still got their land. And they still got ground leases and square footage. But here's my problem. Status made that young man jump on me. He don't know I retired from his job. Treat me like I was a thief, a beggar, a robber, stereotypes, titles, criminals, thugs, that kind of thing. It's still going on, man. Y'all act like, on the media act like, oh, see. No. I want you billionaires to come down here, paint you black. They ain't got to be paint you black. Paint you whatever color. Make you look. Hang around a gas station and see what happens to you. You might kind of find some mercy for somebody. Maybe the evangelical will walk in there and give you some electric lights. It's hot as hell outside. Maybe. There is no rule of law to make him take care of his neighbor. But in the Mosaic, the rule of law was you had to bless your neighbor, because they wouldn't have stood there in Deuteronomy 14 and said, we've given our tithes to the stranger. Would they? Who's beside the priest? You that love giving your pastor money, did you ever think that the stranger in God's eyes was just as important? And with the emeralds and diamonds under the Congolese feet, why don't they show them how to participate in individualistic, capitalistic ideology, which FreeBibleCommentary.org, Baba, they said that we practice with competition, Walmart, Sears, so that they can compete. Why did the Queen tear down 200 factories over there in Africa, or how many she tore down, don't matter, she tore them down, and empower them people, Christian nations, European Christian nations, and say, hey man, we're going to empower you. Yeshua comes on the scene. Before he comes, John said, don't go preach your great theology. Give it to him that don't have a coat. You think you would have been, here's what we would have done. Oh hell no. If a man don't work, he don't eat. Tell him, John 8, if you don't, get a job, mister. But now a stumbling block comes, and the man break the law, desperate. If conspiracy of property, if women's right hadn't rose up, they'd have kept them poor, probably. The women, the Caucasian women, when they start bellowing out equal rights, equal pay, still fighting. That is when the Kentucky Derby should have been shut down, not the Kentucky Derby. Because of unjust balance is an abomination before the Mosaic God. I don't know what God you got on your money. What's an unjust balance? That means you can't tell the person you kept poor, you can do it too. 100, 200, 1969 years later. Now you can get you some land. The Indian, now you can get some land. You got a casino now. Oh, we give him some land, give him that land. Man, look, bro. What's fair is fair. I can't beat your football team if I don't have the logistics, the team matching the numbers. I can't win the war. And you said count the cost before you win the war. If I don't have enough bullets to match your bullets, at least we can find out who the real winner is. You see, telling me about your forefathers and all what they did with hard work and poverty coming in this country is not the same for black people. It couldn't be the same because your fathers could move up ladders, poor and all, and these people were oppressed for moving up ladders by law. To act like that wouldn't take an effect and have a cause and effect, and by the way, the wisest man, the God himself, the Hebrew God. I don't know what God you serve. You're saying God you trust, but I don't know who he is. But that what Solomon said, the Bible brings destruction. And Martin Luther King take a bullet for marching for people that were willing to work, but couldn't even take care of their family, man, because they gave them the lease. 1946, blacks come to Las Vegas. They gave them the lease. The houses now worth what? Market crash is probably worth $20,000. Maybe not even that. Maybe. You bail them out, $2,000, $25. You give them $250,000 now for the house they bought in '46, and then you say historical site, and then you raise up condominiums after you buy them individually. Don't show them the plans, because you compete. What's the plans? That these condominiums that we're going to build after clearing these lots is going to comp off Symphony Park, where they're building skyscrapers as we speak. Southern Land Company is building right next to Donald W. Reynolds Symphony Park. Southern Baptist churches lined up. Why didn't they buy the land? Why didn't the prophets? It's like the prophets that said we can keep the nigger as a slave in a false prophecy and call it Hebrew. And yet the Hebrew, when he was caught selling out his brother for a pair of shoes and putting him back in debt, Nehemiah said, shake off the usury. Bro, for these things we went into captivity. What happened to that? And the righteous sold out for a pair of shoes, said Amos and Micah. They were capitalizing as individual capitalists. There was no longer collective. They told Samuel, we want a king status. And they got one. And when they got status, they began to treat each other like pure crap. And that's what happened to me in that store. He sized me up based on my color of my skin, based on what he thought my clothes should look like. And he treated me worse than a dog. They'd have been saying, if a dog walked in the store, oh, poor baby, feed the dog. He's so busy trying to get me out that store to prove to the Mexicans that he is in control of this nigga. He didn't wait on the clerk to tell me, no, you gotta have the physical ID. He said it. I thought you stop the robbery, bro. She can tell me, she's educated enough, tell me, hey, you gotta have the physical ID. He was so busy trying to get me out of the store. See, status did this, man. And now you wonder why they're killing each other down in the inner cities, after you conspired to put them in poverty, and you did it by law. Elijah Muhammad asked you for assets dealing with land, and you know that's the most precious asset because of population growth, water rights, and the abundance of water. Wisconsin, some slaves got, many acres. They ain't mad at the one that gave the people the acres. Some of the fathers, founding fathers, and people that was back then, and Southern people did right and paid them. My family got their fair share. Fair share. Manna fell coming out of Egypt. We had more than that. It turned to worms. Do you know why? Because God said, I'm your Lord and your shepherd. You shall not want. Covet what somebody else got. The fact that the land ownership, their status, right now, land ownership. I'm sitting over here in the office right now. Land ownership. How many black people got ground leases? How many black people competing right now with square footage? If $9 square foot, why are they building on Cheyenne and Los Vegas, West Side, Northwest? Collective groups. They come together. Architect, look the same. Massive structures. 398,000 square foot. Proud to put it on the sign. 198,000 sitting beside it. And 5 more structures being built. Who's to compete with them? Nobody. Because everybody paying the bank for the house. Now it's everybody. Now it ain't racist now. It's anybody that's poor. I guess you figure it out. I ain't gonna tell you how to do a ground lease. I'm not gonna tell you about square footage. I'm not gonna tell you how to participate in the individualistic capitalistic ideology, because if I tell you, we might start playing basketball now, you might beat my ass. Maybe there's a fear there from elites, so-called elites, these so-called entitlement people. I don't know what it is. But if every man was created equal, and God gave everything freely in this earth, and said, as it is in heaven, pray this way, Yeshua, Christian nation, as it is in heaven. Is there anything missing in heaven? Is there anything broken in heaven? Is there fragments in heaven? Do some babies have diapers and some don't? Do some people eat and some don't? Oh, yeah, I'm coming home now. I'm talking to my conservative Christians now. Well, how in the hell you call this a Christian nation? And you got fragments everywhere. They took over Las Vegas, and you have groups that have movements, and people are running for political office. Say, Nevadans, you gotta wake up. I'm running for president, and they did you wrong. Well, they did them wrong and threw them out in the cold, man, and said, quadruple that rent, double that rent. I saw 40-year tenants get thrown out. Oxygen machine people, disability people. They just bought another complex on Harmon. Yeah, going down towards ULV. You'll see it. Empty building. Gated off. They threw all the senior citizens. No, y'all saw it coming, but you didn't want to do nothing about it. What you wanted to do was turn the other way, because you want a middle-class America to prove to the world, hey man, look at us, guys. We got 1,000 billionaires now. See, this thing worked. But how'd they get their money? Who's on the production line? How much did they pay them? They paid them $10 an hour. The average pay in Las Vegas for a simple job with casino or industry business was $10, $8. When I got here, $7. How did it jump overnight after COVID? Right after COVID. Buying and selling ships in Long Beach. He was mad at the supermarkets for raising the prices too high. Well, how can he stop them in the free market with competition? It's an individual thing. It's not collective. We're not in this together. Quit lying. The next plague that come, your tongue may drop out your mouth if you say that. And the plague might take you up out of here. Because you can't lie to people and tell them we're in together and then raise your prices 3 times higher and they've been buying your product 50 years. There's no appreciation, praise, and gratitude or mosaic. Love your neighbor as yourself. And whatsoever things you want done to you. Now, there's floss on the less fortunate. And now, in our industry, in the music industry, it's I got this and I got that. I ain't got it. Scrub. What's a scrub? God, they call me a scrub. Am I a scrub? And we believe that crap. Pagan, not Hebrew. Because Jesus said, there ain't nobody greater than John. He ushered in his coming. No prophet. And the greatest, at least one greater than him. Throwing out status again. Samuel said, they want a king. He offended. It made him feel like he didn't know what he's doing. Treating them all equal. And that's equal, brother. He said, I ain't took a shoe last from him. Notice, Dale Carnegie. Let him speak. Wrote the first book on salt shoes. What's in it for me? What's in it for you? Crabs calling out of a barrel. Huh? Are we servicing people? Was that service when that guard walked up on me, black on black? Or was that discrimination? Was that status talking? Was that all this drunkenness that we got on merchants and wailing and weeping because if a war comes, you ain't gonna have no status. We'd be all fighting the Russians or whoever's coming. You said we're gonna be, because God is with us. I pray he is, because I got great grandkids here. I don't think I'm a fool. But if you do, it's all mercy. It ain't because you earned it. You so great. Hot shot for God. Flashing your Christian commercials on Fox News and parading that by the descendants that probably got DNA tied to Hebrew since the Levites were the Ethiopians. And they proved to the Muslims that they were descendants through the DNA, which we send a person to the lecture chair or whatever we give them, death sentence, DNA. They tried not only Hebrews, they from the tribe of Levi. And they were in that area. And Bathsheba married Solomon. So it very well could be blackness in Hebrew. I wonder if any black male here in this country of the United States of America got any ties to either Islam or Hebrew or voodoo. So much for Illuminati, because voodoo is ruling right now. And voodoo always brings a delusion. There's power in the underworld. And as long as we're murdering each other and got things, we okay. My best friend got robbed by his best friend, and they shot him through the heart while his 2 daughters went through the store, sent by their father for $30,000. That's it, God we trust. Well, why is that? Why were they so desperate? Fox News, when you show people that are, you say thugs and criminals, title a lie. Even the missiles that wiped out 50,000 Russians, they said the enemy. Russians killing Russians. Well, I guess so. They have a democracy. This is stuff you got to go through. A kingdom of God on earth. You mean, Ethiopians at war right now over the resources. Congolese just left. The Chinese just manipulate them for they never taught them how to process them diamonds and emeralds. So they can stand up in a competition like Walmart and Sears or Super Bowl and be not a logistics match, let's go to war. Why would I want you to win and you can compete against me? I want the Olympic gold medal. Look at our ideology, philosophy, and theology. John Hagee said, get a job, mister, and quit being a criminal. He should, because that's Hebrew. thou shalt not steal, but thou shalt not covet as well. In other words, I want something, and usury of greediness to gain, God hated. I'll use you and give you $10 an hour. And overnight, all of a sudden, the 6 months where they couldn't flip a house in Las Vegas, once them apps went out and the stuff is worldwide, we don't need y'all no more. And now you got charity groups and movements of housing is way too high. The mayor, Goodman, his statue faced Donald W. Reynolds. And this Donald W. Reynolds creation of Symphony Park is to preserve generations to come. Well, who are you preserving? Are you preserving the middle class only? We all should aspire to go higher, and we all should have a lifestyle that houses are built and they're nice, and it's going to cost for lumber. It's going to cost for the product to build that house. We understand that. We're not stupid. Products, goods, and services, GDPs. How did the Congolese, when the democracy hit the Congolese, how did the president walk away with 3/4 of the GDP? Ethiopian president goes to Mozambique. Venezuela, fat cats, bail out. Haiti in an uproar, and you got these have and have-nots, fragments. That's the kingdom of heaven, and you dying in a war for that, and it's fragmented. In the end, it's fragmented. In the end, get your black broke ass out of my store. Huh. You descendants of slaves. And what would God think about that? And why would Jesus come and preserve your nation? And I'm coming straight forward. And set it up as the kingdom of God. As though God is broke and he can't provide for all. Like Solomon made silver run down. And when you say down, now you're Marxist, communist, and every damn thing else in the book. The communists will beat your ass, United States, because they least will make sure everybody got a house. In their thinking. The bankers rob the American people. That's poor, but high interest. 6.5 on 300,000. And a cap on the other 100,000 at 12%. You got a mortgage calculator? Go find out what that number is if you just make the payment. Bottom line is, bro, status destroys a nation. For Moses was told, Moses, hey Moses, you gonna need some help. But pick men that hate, what's in it for me? Covetousness. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Why? He fed you with manna. Well, I want more manna than what he gave me. They murmur. And when you got more, it turned to worms. Why? You only can eat so much, bro. The alligator ate, the anaconda ate the alligator, he busted out the side, they both died. As greed don't have no friends, like covetousness and usury and greediness. It gets more multiplied greedy. Hell, I ain't telling you how to rebuild them sugar factories in Africa, Queen Elizabeth. And you wonder why people stumble over the gospel. And you come on there and show us a Jesus, a baptism of Caucasians. But where the niggas at? They ain't coming to your baptism. You know why? Because you kept their fathers poor. And if you would have broke bread fairly, the lady on them waters with them scales would have said, amen. But she ain't representing Hebrew, obviously. Because Hebrew, you tell me, when God was in control, he brought them all out of debt, slavery. All of them, not 1,000. Not 1,000 billionaires are tokenizing me with Oprah Winfrey. Look, a rapper. There's millions of blacks that's, man, come on, bro. He brought them all out, man. Can you do that, United States, to your slaves? Hell no. UFO Free Bible Commentary.org, Bob Utley said we are not Christian. We're individually capitalistic. Competition is more anti-Christian, I say, and more anti-Christ. What do you mean? In practice, you say Constitute Republic, we created in God's image. Equal. Yeah, equal, with different gifts though, Because Joseph had a gift to administrate. Everybody don't have an administrative gift. Who's going to run the production line? And Las Vegas paid him $10 an hour. And overnight, got a black representative of one of the Channel 3 or one of the news stations. And they said, with all the credentials read first, when you trust this person's word, it's going to take you to live comfortably in Las Vegas, $96,000. But wait a minute. Didn't they just, before COVID, pay $10 an hour? Isn't it only 2 years after COVID or 3 years after COVID? How in the hell are they going to jump to $96,000 to live comfortably? Should all God's people live comfortably on his earth, his green earth? And you'll never play this. You'll never play this tape here. This one ain't never going to make the air, brother. We already know it. But I'm going to tell you about yourself without condemnation. Because I thank God for America, because I'm standing here and I'm free and my people got theirs. But how can I enjoy living in an ivory castle and my brother Lazarus is at the gate? Because the tree said I gave him breath too. And the other rich neighbor I got, who I worship, he died. He didn't get no breath today. Seems like the tree don't discriminate. And he don't charge a squirrel. So as it is in heaven, it's probably free. So how do you make it be charged and call it heaven? Okay. Did the manna, how much you charge? When the sun come up, how much you charge? When the rain comes so you can eat, how much you charge? All you supermarkets. Why did you raise the prices of COVID and say we was in it together? Well, everybody trying to get out the barrel, out the hole, man, and live a certain lifestyle. And it's competition. Don't fool yourself. We know that's right. That's why the prices went up. They got to get theirs now, man. And it cost me to show you some unappreciation, ungratitude, and unthankfulness that you've been buying my product all your life, and all of a sudden you can't afford it no more because you're on fixed income. Not only is my prices at the supermarket high, but you've been a 40-year tenant. And now that rent, you pay me double in 30 days or get the hell out, landlord state. Well, wait a minute, I work for $10 an hour. What do you mean I gotta have $3,200 to get an apartment now? Them apps, technology is gonna replace and has replaced so much stuff as far as human compassion, human caring, human love, human love. Mosaic, God's love now. Love your neighbor as yourself. But that's human love. He required that. Love doesn't look at a thing, a brother in need, destitute. He says, turn his bowels of compassion and don't have none. Shut him down and don't have no mercy. And let him die of electrolytes. A lack of. Because he couldn't afford the $3.90 Gatorade. Gatorade. Bro, the heat tore his ass up. How many jobs did they have to get when they took over the apartment complexes, the investors? And why didn't you tell them, Mr. Goodman, that if this life preserves generations to come, you better make sure you guys get a ground lease and some square footage in the north as they come into our city. Preserve what kind of generations? We all want a middle class. That's great. Worldwide. The living a certain lifestyle we discovered, but it should not be manipulated and exploited to fatten our pockets to go higher. Higher where? Nevada Energy is owned by Warren Buffett, but he ain't got no pyramids to harness the energy. He's steward over it, brother. Let me tell you, America, We're going to give an account for every dime and every unjust dime and every manipulating dime and every interest rate that we ever said as a Christian nation. I'm talking back to the conservatives. The elites get theirs off the top like Eli signs. The bat, the CEO, the pastors, all wax, fine, shine, fat. Why is that? You get it off the top from the collector. Turn around and tell you, you go do what I did. Well, what do you mean? You got out of the hole. You just stick your hand back down there and lift one of them out. You should have did it till all of them came out. Because all of them came out of Egypt. And all of them went into the promised land. Joshua 1:9. Where they had to help each other and couldn't even enjoy what they had until all of them came in together. And when they got in that land, they said, Lord, we've given now our tithe debt-free, no debt, to the priest, stranger. Look like God loved them all. They're using the blessing of God. You call material things and status blessing to show the stranger that this God of the Hebrew is the provider of heaven and earth. And all things are his. We're stewards. And when they broke that, they took Jeremiah's land. And the land should have been perpetually in there. Hebrew. But Jezebel got thrown from a tower for that, for coveting with Ahab, the king, an elder's land. And Elijah prophesied it. The dog's going to lick up blood out. But by the time we look at Jeremiah, he's telling them the righteous showed out for shoes. Amos is telling Micah the destruction of the poor of the houses. I will visit you with everlasting destruction. You know, God had attitude when you start being a bad steward over his stuff. And when people are lacking who he loved the same as he loved you, and that rich man on the hill over there, and the one that's starving to death in Ethiopia, or wherever they starving to death, Venezuela. All men created equal ain't gonna cut it, brother, on the constitutional covenant. Yeah, that's true. That's half truth. And the devil will make sure you give a half truth to get you off the hook, so he can set you up in the karmas. You're created equal, and you must have the same care for one another. If you're Hebrew, that's what Jesus' point was. The least one. In other words, esteem him, because you're gonna miss him. Why would he say that? He told the young ruler that should have known Deuteronomy 14 and Joshua 1, when the three tribes already had theirs on that side of Jordan, and they were commanded to help their brethren and not enjoy anything. Because usually, when we start enjoying status, we move out and say, I made it. Hell with them niggas down there. Get your ass out my store. You look like a black broke nigga. Scrub! Come on, wild-eyed wanderer. Scrub, where'd that come from? Who told her to say scrub? What's a scrub? God, am I a scrub? Is that black man has broke a scrub hanging out the window of his... He ain't got his car yet, lady. And no disrespect. But this pagan ideology, anti-Hebrew, anti-collective, because all collective speakers from Farrakhan, I'm going to go to Farrakhan. No, I'm going to go to Elijah Muhammad, asking for some land. If they got one drop of DNA in them, it proves that any African American might have some real Hebrew in them, like Israelites. Wouldn't land be important? Because it's in the Bible that they have some. How did they get bribed back? Black women, Black Lives Matter women marching, saying that ranches got sold in California when the slaves were brought out to get the gold. $2,000 for the ranch. In other words, they bribed them. They caught them slipping. Took their land. Do the stats. How many black families own land today? With water rights, that's the difference. In new communities. How many have ground leases, like Manhattan and Benjamin Franklin, like the founders? in a trust? How many black families have graduations with degrees and assets to compete? Remember competition, Olympic gold medal, worldwide West Side. Yeah, competition. Not pick your brother up off the ground, stop him out. Walmart, devour him. Sears is getting weak. But Jesus told the man, yeah, you took care of your tribe. You took care of the widow and the fatherless. But in Deuteronomy 14, it said, not only did it say in Joshua 1, you cannot enjoy the things that you have until they get theirs and you celebrate together. Law 1. They all came out. I guess they all going in. God intended for all of them to have, as an example to the world, their fair share. What made Joe qualify for more fair share than him? And treat him with contempt. And you better than him. You deserve more than him. And God gave breath to both through the tree. The trees clap their hands. And the tree don't charge the squirrel. And don't charge you for the breath. Where is the appreciation, praise, and gratitude when COVID came and the supermarkets that been getting money from us all this time rose the prices? And now here come the news again in Las Vegas. They say it ain't going down by the qualified people with all of the resume up front, so you can believe the credibility of what they say. And overnight, you got to have $96,000 to live in Las Vegas. Woo! Now, if you want a middle class, why don't you do it God's way? Go back and get the least one, the last one, the weakest one, and say, he great too. He great too. Put him in the front of the line with the President Biden, President Trump, and your presidents, and say he's just as important as he is. Can you do that? You can't do that. So therefore, you ain't Hebrew, and you ain't Christian. Said Bob Ugly, not me. Because I think the charities is pretty good. But said Bob Ugly, with BibleCommentary.org. We practice individualistic capitalistic ideology. And that's exactly what the Hebrews did. And they took Jeremiah's land. And Nehemiah, when he came from Assyrian captivity, and out of the king's chest, they were restoring Jerusalem. And he said, man, shake off the usury. You got your brothers in debt? Didn't you know in the 7th year we were to get our brothers out of debt? We can't do this usury and greediness again. For these things we went into captivity. You can't come up crawling off the back, go back to your foundation of others, use them and put them at the back of the line, man. For Jesus, Yeshua was here, he put them at the front of the line. And if James was here, he'd say they mowed your fields. What you mean you ain't paid them yet? Reparations of land and new developments where they can have some ground leases. Hell, you beat them out to sharecropping when the descendants came to Las Vegas way back. And they came out here and was told to buy a house. How come you don't share with them the techniques of an X curve, how money works in this country? Why did Wisconsin just now made it mandatory to balance the checkbook to graduate and how money works in this country? First state, and I ain't heard no other state follow. Are the elites, so-called wealthy people that use people like Procter and Gamble, that use slaves, build a foundation, and the Kentucky Derby, we're all in the damn thing on the horse, and they go pow. Now, that's fair competition, y'all. The best man win, and you loaded. How did Nevada Energy get bought up by Warren Buffett? I guess he got an army behind him. Why do the banks tell us and address us as individuals? Can we shut the banks down in a day as collectives? As one? Let your brain work. How is this a Christian nation in practice if Jesus told the man that took care of his mother, father, sister, brother, kids, wife, grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-great-grandkids, and anybody else, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins? It was tribal. You know, like the Indians do. And the bottom line was, he said, hey, get eternal life. Hey, Jesus, come on, prove me wrong, because I did this thing. Jesus looked at him and said, the priest walked around the stranger like, wow. Yeah, he did. But back in Deuteronomy 14, the same priest, some scholars say, it was the priests. When they said, we're in the land, debt free. Nobody owed a bank nothing. Come on, pilgrim, talk to me. And what happened? What happened? And we giving our tithes to the priest and the stranger and the widow and fathers. Well, most people would take care of the widows and fathers, wouldn't they, of their own tribe? How come the queen took care of our tribe and didn't take care of the tribe that she used to get the money for to get the cakes over in Africa? How come she tore down the sugar factories? How come they won't show the Congolese how to process them diamonds so they can compete in this individualistic, capitalistic world renowned? We're dying for this thing, man. Okay? Oh, we dying for elites. Which one? Because if you really love me, you're going to show me how you got it. Aren't you? You're going to show me square footage and land is a powerful asset. And it's the most powerful because of population booming, immigration booming, and everything else. Location. Why wouldn't you go over to D Street and show the descendants from Mississippi that already got beat out of sharecropping in Las Vegas and say, man, look at the plans. How come the Fontainebleau, the Miami company that originally came, who lost it in the market, found the plans of the city to extend the convention center in front of it, and the Stratosphere owner, who didn't check the plans, obviously, gave it back, or he didn't have the $3.4 billion to put up. They put up $3 billion, but not many days since the structure was up, it's worth 8.5. How come it was comped at that, based off the Asian mega theme resort, and pitched in the industries as such? And why is it worth 8.5 billion a day if he only put 3.4 billion in? You checked the plans, didn't you? But see, if you don't tell them the plan on D Street that the location here is of great value, and you go bribe them as individuals and give my friend $225,000 for his house and wipe the house out and clear the lots out and put the gates up, and the Southern Land Company come in along as Donald W. Reynolds had built Symphony Park. Thank God he gave it back to Catholic charities, and their charities sustain people today. That's Christian and that's Hebrew. If he gonna do capitalism, because Solomon made silver run down as the sands of the sea, breaking bread. And you say, we ain't got to do that. The lazy bum, get a job, mister. Come back, John Hagin, from the Baptist. Wait a minute. You mean get a job? You mean get 3 jobs? Because these cats in the landlord state raised the rents, some of them quadrupled it. And the old retired 40-year tenant lady was thrown out overnight. What's the plan to build a middle class, and the hell with the rest of them that helped us build that middle class? Is that Hebrew? Did he leave any in Egypt? Did he come, when they went in? Why couldn't God say, don't enjoy your wealth, Manasseh, Dan, and Reuben, until these tribes, the other 9 that bought the CDs out the back of your trunk? Huh? Why did the man in the store treat me till they get theirs and you have a big party and bring the tithes and bless the stranger and show him that I'm the God of heaven and earth, Jehovah Jireh, and I provided all things freely, for freely you enjoy? Did you make the diamonds? Do you have the name or the number of the one who put the sun on a timer? The rain. How come the rain fall on the just and the unjust, the wicked and the righteous? Is that mercy? How come we think we can take breath but we can't give it, and when we do give it, we charge $100,000 a day? Is that as it is in heaven? Is anything missing and broken in heaven? said, give us our day our daily bread. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not covet. Why did Moses' father tell him, why did Samuel say to the people of God, hey man, you know status? And God had to say, they rejected you, they rejected me, my system. What system? The same system that Jesus said that the least one is greater than the one you think is the greatest? Blew on our status, huh? If we all God's children, context of character would be, for a Christian nation, let Jesus say it. He told the man that took care of his own. If you're white, you took care of your own. If you're black, Oprah Winfrey, did you take care of your family? Yep. How come he told them and didn't even acknowledge him taking care of his own? He knew God had created all creation, and all children and all souls belong to him in the foundation. The hell with what Satan got now through trickery, delusion, deception, murder, lies, and the father of lies, and a thief and a robber. Is that satanic? Yes, it is. How come Jesus came to destroy those works? Abusing, reading this game, more than my fair share. How come equality is so important that Paul wrote about it and said, you rich people, help them people over there so that there be equality of what? Same thing? No, same care. How come the one over here with all the degrees is so important and we say we're a civil servant, but the one over here didn't get served? They forgot about it? Would God have forgot about it? How come the prodigal son, when he came, said, I don't want to be a son no more, but a servant? He said, hell no, I'll kill the fatted calf to show this man how important he is. How come Jesus told a story of a lady that valued a coin and she had plenty of coins, but the one coin was so valued, she tore up the house to find it? How come when they came out of Egypt, they all ate the same manna? How come they all had to wait, the three tribes, Manasseh and Dan, and couldn't enjoy what they had in Joshua 1, and were told, you cannot enjoy any of it until they get theirs? And how come they had to wait and come together? All God's children, equality of care, obviously, was the plumb line and the bar. If we practice that today, is it possible in this nation, before you call it a Christian nation or Hebrew, practice it? How come Bob Utley sounds so right now and saying we're individualistic, capitalistic? How come flossing on the less fortunate with God's stuff that he put in the ground, like a car, and calling the man that don't got the car to scrub less than a human being, and the dog get treated better than a human being? How come blacks hate homosexuals and LGBT communities to the point where they think they're better than them, but blow the brains out of a brother's head and have no affection at all, but call and condemn their affection as unnatural affection? Well, it's unnatural to go black on black, isn't it? And that's for our brothers. How come Tookie Williams tried to reverse that thing and got a Nobel Peace Prize like Martin Luther King? But yet, the Russian cut Tookie's tongue out. How come they cut the tongue out of Edward Evans? How come they cut the tongue out of the Black Panther Party leader? Every time collectives come together and try to move forward in blackness? How come they all divided in Africa, in Ethiopia, and the Congo, and split wars for resources just to participate in the basketball game of capitalism? How come all this confusion that I'm looking at don't look like the kingdom of God or a Christian nation that's leading nations into Christianity? Though you put on commercials of Fox News as though we're winning them all. How come the brothers don't come and I don't see you baptizing them? You say the black preachers will do it. They hate the black preachers, and they live in ivory castles, most of them. How come they capitalize off the collective and cut out Deuteronomy 14, choosing the oppressor's way? And what is that? Simply put, hell, the oppressor said to hell with the stranger. I'ma use this nigga, and you ain't getting shit after I use you, and I'ma make laws that you can't buy no land till 69. And we turn right around and say to hell with the stranger. I don't know you, brother. You ain't my family. I ain't giving you no ties. This ain't no welfare system. How come they said when they got out of the promised land, got in the promised land, they said we've given our tithes to the priest and to the stranger? And how come he was next of importance beside that priest? The stranger ain't got no status. They're foreigners, immigrants. How come Samuel, that they asked for a king that would bring status? How come Samuel didn't take anything from them and said, I took not a shoe latch? He didn't profiteer off of his ministry. And Samuel said, did he not say it? I ain't took a shoe latch, but you want a king. How come God said they ain't rejected my way? They rejected my way. Don't take it personal, Samuel. What was God's way? Looked like to me, he brought them all out. Looked like to me, they all came in. Looked like to me, if this was a real Hebrew practicing Christian nation, there'd be nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking, and especially if anybody working didn't get paid. How come James said don't keep the pay overnight? How come they were told to get their brother out of debt every 7th year, and in Jubilee, every man was set free from debt? How come the United States said in the 7th year, your debt would be canceled, but the school loans are not canceled? How come when the markets fell, the houses went upside down and the money went to the businesses? How come ground leases are so important in Manhattan, San Francisco, Las Vegas, and anywhere else you go, LA? How come they boarded up Nipsey Hussle, the leasee, as he hustled from the curb to do capitalism and not break the law and not sell drugs? How come the vice president went down to Mexico, being a black woman from California? I'm pretty sure she locked up some brothers for selling drugs. There go Free Ray Rick. How come it came to the middle class of Detroit, Michigan, and brung it down, the heroin that they couldn't grow in their backyard? How come the United States ain't sanctioned their country that has brung devastation and metric tons of cocaine coming from Colombia with it on the bag in one of their books? Chocolate City, but yet Colombia was never sanctioned. How come? You said you had a war on drugs, but I don't hear that no more. How come? Is it possible that everything we doing is anti-Hebrew and anti-Mosaic? No, not everything. We got charities. Remember that? You thought I was going to leave that out? How come Paul had to write a letter and say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to burden you, man. I know you're making the money. But man, can you please, bro, just do this? Just give them some money, man. Because them cats over there in Jerusalem being persecuted. And you know what, bro? We got to relieve our brother. That there be equal care, equality of care. You say equal and stuff. How come the Haitians got sent back and many of them died in that hell-infested thing over there, but the Ukrainians are in middle-class neighborhoods right now? I got a lot of how comes. How come David and Solomon wrote that poverty brings destruction? How come Africa has been kept poor? How come? If this is to be, how come everybody ain't a billionaire by now? How come there's no more Martha, there's no more Oprah Winfrey's? showed me Oprah Winfrey, and I ain't heard one with her money and wealth yet. How come there's only a few blacks that got real wealth? And they are the descendants of slaves. What if one drop of blood in them is Hebrew? Was land important to them? The Hebrews? Or was land important to God? How come no one went over there to the west side of Vegas and showed them the plans of the city? How come Mayor Goodman, and who was he talking about, to preserve generations to come? How come SWAT, Detroit SWAT, kick in the doors in Detroit, the middle class neighborhood, a city that went down, but you don't kick in the doors and cut the dragon's head off of where them drugs come from? How come you show me Escobar, one warlord, cartel, but you ain't showed me nobody else? How come you can see Buster bunking bombs underground, but yet 100 feet, you can't see 20 feet when the dope was coming in through the freeway rig with the cocaine? How come you wait till they get the drugs, it seems like, and then send the police in, and then build all these penitentiaries in California, like Ice Cube said? How come Martha Stewart and many others had their businesses in those penitentiaries? How come so many Negroes, like Tupac said, filled up the penitentiaries? How come the South was rebuilt by breaking the law? How come you got a woman sitting on waters with scales and you say justice for all? How come we have not confessed the sins of covetousness and usury and greediness of gain, which Billy Graham told us about? How come some have and have not, but yet this is all God's green earth? Is it the kingdom of heaven? Are you the leading Christian nation? If you are, a little leaven whole lump. The God who's holy and the God of excellence. To say one rise to the top to sustain his brother is not Marxism or communism or socialism. It can't be. Because Joseph sustained the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called, and if he did it, the very ones, he could have put them to death. How come David gave Mephibosheth, King David, which was the culture of the kings to kill the one that's trying to kill you? You gotta wipe their seed out, or they gonna come and get you on revenge. It's a natural thing. How come he sat at his table and said, "I restored the lands to you that your father had lost"? How come Jesus told us to love our enemies? And how come Yahshua told that young ruler that took care of his own tribe? When the stranger fell, the stranger picked him up when the priest was no longer dealing with the stranger. How come they treated Jeremiah like a stranger when they took his land? And Zerubbabel prophesied about things to come, about mountains to be moved. How come there's a government that will come? How come the slaves got the land in Jerusalem? And how come one of them was named Niger? How did they get slaves when they treat the stranger with kindness and 10% of their income in Deuteronomy 14? And they said, "I've given my tithes to the priest, the stranger, and the widow and the fathers." Why was it in that order? 5 wives. How was that done? Why was that done? When was that done? Where was that done? How come Abraham was to get many sons and that one in the plan in the beginning not be left out? How come Adam fall and sin came on all? And would he not restore all back? Do you want one of your sons or daughters lost? Do you want one of your sons or daughters broke in poverty to be destroyed by that poverty? How come it's not a big deal that the untold numbers of black males on black crime? And why is the same thing going on in West Cape with the police force around and the army around that? How's them drugs getting in there? Why don't they sanction the nations that bring the drugs? If you're a Christian, Hebrew practicing nation, to love your neighbor as yourself and to do what Jesus said. Because the priest failed to pick up the stranger that we used to, some scholars said, he gave the tithes to the stranger. And some say the people did. Whichever way it goes, the stranger was very important. And yet, these descendants that are here are the poorest of the people that are here. And these being descendants of slaves. Yet at the same time, why did God give the land when they were accused of Jeremiah of selling, and Amos and Micah, the righteous out for shoes and exploitation, and usually agreed in their game, individualistic, capitalistic ideology? The hell with my brother, the hell with the seventh year, the hell with helping him like that. Why did God say, open your hand up wide, and you better, or it'll be sin unto you, and help him? Why did God have to say help him? Why did God say don't enjoy your inheritance until you all have your possessions? Why did that happen? If you can't tell me why all of us can't enjoy a middle class life and not be manipulated, exploited, or forgotten, and you got a plan to do that, execute it. Bring them all out. For they all came out of Egypt. And you say you godly. You like him. You the leader. For what I see is many, and many is many, untold numbers of destruction because of poverty among those slaves in America today, 2024. I judge not. I'm thankful to be here myself. But why doesn't it bother us that if one man fall in this nation and die of destruction, die in lack, it don't bother us? Why do we seal our conscience with a hot iron? And why did John say, or James, when you see your brother have need, and shut your bowels of compassion, and give him notwithstanding the things that he hath need of, in necessities? How you saying the love of God is in your heart? Why did he say love never fail? And why did John turn around and say, beloved, let us love one another? Why don't we love each other with money? And why did Galatians say, fulfill the law of Christ, who said, love as I loved you? And why did he give himself more precious than money, that others may recover themselves? Why was the least one, last one, and the most one fallen important? Why the Schindler's List? How is that important? Must be tribal, huh? Why did fulfill the law of Christ by bearing one another's burdens? Interpreted in Greek, man, they said scholars crushing weight. Why is, when a market fall, the crushing weight of a mortgage? Why is debt ratios, when they are stressed, that mortgage of that 4,200 or that 659 FICO, not quite A paper, is subprime? Why did the rates go way back up? And those that had 800 FICOs now still got to pay a high rate? Who owns the banks? Why do they get on Power 88 or whatever black station and I can't find no black businesses because all the people have set the bar so high? The lawyers and everybody else marketing fees in their own tribal community. Why does the big bank take the little bank? Who said that money that comes from a tree is holy? Who said it's all about cash? It may move things, but why is money a defense? Why is currency so important? Why is the GDP so important? Why did Gaddafi say, let's take resources and unite and create a currency? And why did Obama say, I killed him for the 5,000 people and never mentioned, yes, you can come together and create resources? Why did the vice president, the black lady beside Biden right now, lock people up in penitentiaries? And I'm pretty sure some of them was black males for selling cocaine. Why did she go down there where the cocaine is grown and never mention it? We talk about immigration. Why do we have to bow down and say the right things to be able to come up in this nation? Do you love my message or do you hate this message? Because you ain't looking so good. Like Farrakhan said, why did Elijah Muhammad ask y'all for some land? Did he know the Bible? All these whys. Because when you start asking why, how do you mean? Third level questions. People gotta dig deep and look at this thing. Is this the kingdom of God for real? Is this worth dying for? Because Jesus said, if this Rome thing were the kingdom, we fight. Is he going to take him second coming? And why did the apostles give their lives for the gospel? To go out, not loving their lives unto death. And they boiled John in oil. Why did these men go to that extreme of commitment for a fragmented Christian nation to say, I'm the leader, follow us? Did they die for that? Did they give up their lives like the Father who gave the Son was all included? Do you love your neighbor as yourself? And whatever things you and me will desire, or whatever things we want done for us, we do for others. And if you practice that one, that's cool. But do you seek another man's wealth? Are you serious about it? Why do you get to the top and give me this verbiage up in the music industries of saying how you there and I'm still down here? Do you care about me? Why do we glorify bosses and murder of our own kind, like they said in Gangsta Paradise? Why do we look the other way as we murder our own kind? The authorities. Why? Is that the same damn thing in Westgate? And you can see it on YouTube with the police watching. Why are there divisions in Africa? Why are there divisions in hoods? Why are there divisions in status? What if God came and made everybody have the same damn thing? Wouldn't that be communistic? Socialistic? Or Marxist? Is Marxist, communist, socialist closer to Hebrew than individualistic, capitalistic ideology? And I can put you to sleep because I want the Olympic gold medal. Only one winner here. Why can't we all win and have a nice house, worldwide West Side? Why did Tupac say, Truth is, it's a setup. Why did every collective speaker that was black either get murdered, or he disappeared, or they shut his ass up? Where's Jesse Jackson and that other brother with the fly hair? Where they at? Did they shut them up, or were they tired? Were they fighting for the collective? And did they fatten their own pockets? Why did the man tell me my faith did the building and acted like he did it, but the collective really did it? The pastors. And why didn't they turn around if they crawled out of the hole based on that collective, if the CEO climbed out of the hole based on production lines of collectives, say they did it? And why is it an individual appeal and say you can do it? Don't you need an army? Is there an army of investors behind Warren Buffett? Brother, if we don't answer these questions, what the hell are we fighting for? Because if we all don't win, would that bless the heart of God when he fed them all? You see, if every life is precious, why does the dog always outdo us in love by unconditional, just loving the human being with no motive of manipulation or exploitation? Why does everybody got a dog now? Why does God got to use dogs to show us the bar is set at unconditional love? And we treat the pet greater than the one that the tree gave breath. And said, you all are equal, I gave you both breath. And he over there dying on lack of luxuries. Why did the man break his back on the job and he's so much pain? He can't work, but yet he can't get an apartment because now the bar is set too high. He had early retirement, partial disability, and he can't get a place to stay after he worked the fields of the CEO that's in the Ivory Castle. Not just him, many others. Why did overnight in Las Vegas, the poor, working poor, sleeping in their cars in Sunset Park with no blankets because the cold fell so fast? Why did the season go off? Did Las Vegas fall from her? Would the mafia make sure the poor had housing? Why did I look at something that said corporate greed? Buying up all the houses? The collective force. Two are better than one, isn't it? 10 times your bank account, can't you? Can you get more done with more than one? So why do you tell me what I can do instead of telling me what we can do? Jeremiah 23.